One thing about that Austin and Karmelo situation, it's definitely showing all the racists around the world. Cause if you any type of normal human fucking being, you will know right from wrong. Because just as much as Austin did not deserve to get his life taken, Karmelo did not deserve to be bullied every fucking day.
You're standing in a crowded room as whispers cut through the silence, all about one thing: leaked autopsy photos of Austin Metoff. Reporters describe how the controversy spiraled when members of Carmelo Anthony's inner circle allegedly pushed supporters to bombard officials with calls and emails, demanding access to gruesome images from the teenager's autopsy. Critics say the effort was less about justice and more about spectacle. The transcripts circulating online captured one supporter urging thousands of people to email, call, and voicemail county offices, intensifying pressure on the Metoff family at a moment when they were already reeling from loss. According to observers, this was not an isolated effort. The push for autopsy files became part of a larger campaign of harassment that included swatting calls and doxing of witnesses. Families of students who saw the stabbing were left shaken after their names appeared online, reportedly leaked by insiders with access to restricted case information. "Why do you want to see those photos so badly?" one critic demanded during a live stream. "It's not about truth, it's about cruelty." The uproar over these photos has now eclipsed courtroom updates, creating a scandal within the scandal. Community leaders call it a violation of basic decency, while others warn that the obsession with such images could carry serious consequences once Anthony faces prison. And now, people are asking, if even the victim's final dignity is under attack, what kind of punishment do supporters believe Karmelo himself should expect when he's behind bars? Inside prison walls, inmates have already begun voicing their fury. Formerly incarcerated voices are warning that if Karmelo is convicted, his notoriety and the actions of his supporters will not be forgotten. "Everything you're doing to the Metoff family," one man said, "will come back on you tenfold inside." The logic is brutal, but consistent. Just as supporters flood county offices with accusations, inmates or outside callers could flood prison hotlines with reports against Karmelo. Anonymous tips of contraband, weapons, or threats would force staff to strip search him, isolate him, or place him under suicide watch, regardless of the truth. According to prison veterans, that cycle would leave him humiliated, exposed, and alienated from other inmates. In Texas facilities, reputation spreads quickly. Those labeled as problems become targets not only for guards but also for gangs and cellmates who want to avoid collective punishment. If Karmelo is seen as the reason extra searches, lockdowns, or investigations happen, few will want to stand beside him. Isolation, in prison terms, means vulnerability. This fear has become the newest talking point among critics online, the very tactics Karmelo's family and supporters used to torment the victim's relatives could be mirrored against him in prison. And the question many are now whispering is chilling. Will the outrage over these autopsy photos fuel a prison vendetta that Anthony cannot escape? At the center of the outrage is a simple but haunting fact. Austin Metoff was a teenager. Witnesses recall he stepped in to protect classmates when the fatal stabbing occurred at the track meet. His death shocked the community, transforming an ordinary high school event into a crime scene marked by disbelief and grief. The autopsy photos now in question are not just legal documents. They represent the last fragile piece of dignity for a family that has endured relentless harassment. When word spread that Karmelo's supporters were demanding to see them, public sympathy for the Metoff family deepened. "God rest his soul," one commentator said, "but they want those photos of his dead body." Why? To revel in it. For many, the scandal is not just about one case. It taps into broader anxieties about how social media amplifies cruelty. TikTok live streams turned the tragedy into a spectacle, where usernames like Glamour State Goddess urged followers to keep pressing for confidential files. Critics argue this is harassment disguised as activism, fueled by racial tension and online clout chasing. And now the public is left unsettled. If autopsy photos of a murdered teen can become ammunition in a digital war, what does that say about the line between justice and exploitation? Would you have spoken out if your community was the one demanding to see them? Observers say the anger over these requests traces directly back to Karmelo's family. Critics allege that confidential case information, including witness identities, was funneled from Anthony's parents to online supporters. Those names, once leaked, became the targets of online harassment campaigns. Families reported being flooded with messages and threats, all designed to discourage testimony. The most shocking claim is that the same pipeline may have been used to stoke the push for autopsy access. They don't care, one critic insisted. They want money, they want support, and they leak information to rile people up so they'll donate more. In this framing, autopsy photos are not evidence, they're a fundraising tool. This accusation lands at a dangerous intersection of law and public trust. Legal experts note that any deliberate leak of confidential material could expose family members to obstruction or conspiracy charges. Even if never proven, the perception alone deepens public resentment. As a result, Karmelo's parents now face scrutiny, not just for their son's alleged crime, but for the behavior of an online army operating in their name. The question now grows louder. If the family is seen as enabling this harassment, how will that shadow Anthony's fate in court? Community reactions have been visceral. Parents of students who attended the track meet say the case has already scarred their children, who now carry trauma from witnessing violence firsthand. Teachers describe classrooms where silence falls when Karmelo's name is mentioned. And yet, on TikTok, thousands of strangers chant for autopsy photos, as if it were entertainment. Local leaders have condemned the spectacle. Pastors and school officials alike warn that obsession with gruesome details is tearing the community apart. This is about a child who lost his life, one official said, not about clicks or donations. Meanwhile, online debates highlight the racial tension embedded in the controversy. Critics accuse Karmelo's supporters of celebrating that a black boy killed a white boy, while others argue this framing only inflames division. The Meta family, caught in the middle, has repeatedly asked for privacy, only to see their pleas drowned out by live streams and comment sections. This has left bystanders uneasy. Is society so desensitized that the dignity of the dead is negotiable, or is the spectacle of violence now too profitable to resist? Legal observers stress that these controversies could play directly into trial strategy. Judges and jurors are sensitive to public opinion, and ongoing harassment of the victim's family could influence sentencing outcomes if Karmelo is convicted. Prosecutors may argue that the campaign to pressure officials shows a pattern of intimidation, one that reflects on the defendant's character and support network. The timing is also critical. Court schedules are slow, but online outrage moves fast. Each new leak, live stream, or harassment campaign keeps the scandal alive, ensuring jurors may struggle to avoid exposure. This case is no longer just about a stabbing, one analyst said. It's about whether the system can protect victims from intimidation in the digital age. Behind the scenes, legal teams are likely weighing how much of this evidence can be entered into the record. Even if specific TikTok videos or social media posts never reach the jury, the perception of Karmelo's supporters as aggressive and exploitative lingers. That perception could tip the balance toward harsher penalties. And the deeper question emerges: will Karmelo's legal fate be sealed as much by his army of supporters as by the evidence of the crime itself? As the scandal continues, the spotlight is shifting toward the future, specifically Karmelo Anthony's looming prison reality. Former inmates say his name is already circulating in Texas facilities, where word of the autopsy photo controversy has spread. Inmates reportedly view the push for such images as a line crossed, a desecration of dignity that could invite retaliation. If Karmelo is convicted, he could face the same relentless harassment his supporters inflicted on the Meta family. Daily strip searches, false reports, isolation cells, all could become part of his routine, not because of official charges, but because of resentment amplified by his own camp's actions. No one wants to be around you, one prison veteran warned. You'll be ostracized, shamed, and humiliated, and you'll have no one to blame but yourself. For the public, this prediction creates a haunting symmetry. Just as the Meta family has been isolated and tormented, critics say Karmelo could face the same fate behind bars. And now you're left with a chilling thought. If the price of this scandal is eternal humiliation, will prison justice make Karmelo pay in ways the courtroom never could?